ratified so that we can tell Benjamin that the Constitution, meaning of the word sex, is what the PM thought it meant, which is male or female. I reject this bill and I reject gender orientation.
That I hear a concern about is the law reflecting morality. I hear that. Now, here are the ways in which that the law has addressed morality while allowing the church to be able to do its work and its mission. Now, since 1953, the Married Women's Property Act allowed a woman certain capacity in relation to divorce. Now, I remember there being something about if a man divorces a woman, he makes her a victim of adultery, and a man who marries her also commits adultery. That's permitted in Belize right now, and you are nonetheless permitted to tell any woman, to tell any man that the good book says this is the way, walk thee in it. That's still protected. That's always been protected. The status of children. My brother was the ring bearer at my mother and my father's wedding. That's only possible if he was born out of fornication. The law recognized in Belize, I think Barbados did it first and Belize followed, but it recognized that children, regardless of where they were born, their station, that it was important that the law gave them equal protection. Even though I might be a little better looking than my brother, he should be entitled to the land the same way. And so that didn't change the ability of the church to say that fornication is a sin. I hear you saying that sex outside of God's context, whether that is adultery, whether that is fornication, whether that is sodomy, all of that is sin. But the Belizean state does not always reflect sin, but it allows you to call out sin. Rightfully so. And that's what's important, to be protected. So that you know and you understand yourself as having the good truth. It allows other Belizeans who do not share that perspective for you to have access to them to share the word, but it allows them to exist in public life with dignity.
My concern with this bill is that it is way too vague for us. And I want to condemn the way that you guys have put on this so-called consultation, because I think if you guys would have done this in a responsible manner, you mentioned that you're an attorney, you've studied law. It is not a 1 minute sit down to sit and interpret a piece of legislation. Worse, a 75 or 79 page document, which most of us in this room was not privy to, except by a lot of force. We just received it just a couple days ago. And I think that if you guys as a commission would want to be responsible and want to gain the respect of the people in this room, and around this country, let me finish if you don't mind, please. Around this country, you would have made copies of this bill available long time ago. People in this room tonight, ladies and gentlemen, are responsible people. And I believe if you guys would have sat with us in a proper consultation and asked us to give our true views on what freedoms, what rights the LGBT community could have had, we could have had a proper conversation. We understand what is happening around the world today. So for you to get up there, sir, and have a presentation where you are talking about people with disability, I felt like closing my ears. Because I do not believe for a minute that that is the real intent of what you guys are seeking to do.
I hear you about the quality of consultation. I hear you. The legislation is now available. We provided a simple guide to the legislation that covers in very broad strokes the key provisions so that even if you did not attend Hewitt Law School, etc., that you could have a sense. And if starting with that, then you could ask questions. That 4-page guide is available online. And here's why. The consultation process and dialogue does not end tonight. I'm not sure whether the arrangements have been made, but when I was last here, I spoke with Pastor Wade, Pastor Sturm, Pastor Lewis, and they said, we want further consultation. I said, we will come back in January having moves from the model bill with something that we can consider and discuss in detail. I've asked that I have a meeting with the church or various religious constituencies who may have different viewpoints on different aspects about this legislation. Political victimization is in this legislation because Pastor Wade mentioned it. It is in this legislation because it was recognized that there was a blind spot that we had not engaged in.